Hello friends, in this session we will solve one problem on absorption. Let us read the question first. Balance sheet of Modern Auto Limited as on 31st March 2017. Liability side, share capital 6,000, equity share of rupees 10 each fully paid, general reserve, profit and loss account 6% debenture, sundry creditors. Asset side, goodwill, building machinery, stock, debtors, bank. Premier Limited agreed to acquire the business of Modern Auto Limited. That means Premier Limited is taking over the business of Modern Auto Limited. So Premier Limited is the purchasing company and Modern Auto Limited is the vendor company. Terms of acquisition: cash payment equal to rupees 2.50 per share in Modern Auto Limited. Issue of 2,000 equity shares, issue of 9,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each of Premier Limited having an agreed value of rupees 15 per share. Issue of such an amount of fully paid 8% debentures of Premier Limited at rupees 96 each as is sufficient to discharge 6% debenture of Modern Auto Limited at 20% premium. Building and machinery are valued at rupees 60,000 each, stock at rupees 14,200 and debtors subject to 5% provision for discount. So building and machinery is revalued, stock also is revalued, debtors also there is a provision for discount. So I have highlighted this: building, machinery, stock and debtors. Then cost of liquidation of Modern Auto Limited was rupees 500. So now first we will calculate purchase consideration. Purchase consideration, we have to always follow net payment method first. So here in point number 1 it is telling about cash to be given to the equity shareholders, and in point number 2 it is also talking about shares to be given to the equity shareholders. So here the information about the payment made to equity shareholders is completely available or fully available, so we can follow net payment method. So we will first calculate purchase consideration. So in the books of Modern Auto Limited, purchase consideration, net payment method, particulars, amount and more. These are the columns. First for equity shareholders. So now we will just refer over here. Point number 1, they are telling that cash payment equal to rupees 2.50 per share in Modern Auto Limited. So we will check here the number of shares in Modern Auto Limited is 6,000. So 6,000 into how much cash is given, 2.50 per share. So that comes to 15,000. So this 15,000 will be given in cash. Next information is issue of 9,000 equity share of rupees 10 each of Premier Limited having an agreed value of rupees 15 per share. That means Premier Limited is giving 9,000 equity share, but at what price? It is giving at rupees 15 per share. So 9,000 into 15, so that comes to 1,35,000, and this will be given in equity share in Premier Limited. Next is the total of this is purchase consideration, that is 15,000 plus 1,35,000. So purchase consideration will be 1,50,000. Now we will see how the debenture holders are settled. So here it is mentioned in the question about debenture holders. Point number 3, issue of such an amount of fully paid 8% debentures of Premier Limited at rupees 96 each as is sufficient to discharge 6% debentures of Modern Auto Limited at 20% premium. That means the debentures are to be given 20% premium, means 20% we have to pay extra to them. So the value of debenture in the balance sheet is 10,000. So we will take that 10,000 and plus 20% extra, so that comes to 12,000. Now how this 12,000 is settled? This 12,000 is settled in the form of 8% debenture, but this debenture will be issued at rupees 96. So we have to mention over here that this will be settled in the form of 8% debenture, and this debenture will be issued at rupees 96. So this completes my purchase consideration and how the debenture holders are settled. Now we have to prepare the necessary ledger accounts. So which are the ledger accounts? The ledger accounts are First is realization account, second is equity shareholder account, then third is purchasing company account, that is Premier Limited, fourth is equity share in Premier Limited, and then the next account is cash account. So these are the accounts to be prepared. First is realization account, second is equity shareholder account, then third is purchasing company, that is Premier Limited, then fourth is equity share in Premier Limited, and fifth is cash account. So these are the accounts to be prepared. Now we will follow our steps, that is balance sheet, PRS, PR, PRS, and in balance sheet AD means assets will go in the debit side. So we will just refer to the question. Now here there are assets, that is goodwill, building, machinery, stock, debtors, and bank. Now all these assets will be transferred to realization account debit side at the book value and not at the revised value. So we will transfer this goodwill, building, machinery, stock, debtors, and bank balance on realization account debit side at which value? At book value. So goodwill 10,000, building 30,000, machinery 34,000, stock 16,800, book debts 3,600, and bank account 5,600. So this we had a transfer, that is assets debit side. Then we will take the liability. The first liability is 6,000 equity share of rupees 10 each. So this will go in equity shareholder account. So you have to write here in equity shareholder account by equity share capital 60,000. The next liability is there are two reserve, that is general reserve and profit and loss account. Now this two reserves will be transferred to equity shareholder account credit side, that is general reserve 17,000 and profit and loss account 11,000. Next there are two outside liability, that is 6% debenture and sundry creditors. Both this liability, outside liability, will be transferred to realization account credit side. So buy 6% debenture 10,000 and buy sundry creditors 2,000. Okay. So this completes my first step, that is balance sheet. P stands for purchase consideration due. Now purchase consideration is due from the purchasing company. So the entry will be Premier Limited account debit to realization account. So Premier Limited account debit. So in Premier Limited account debit side, we will write to realization, that is purchase consideration. We had already calculated 1,50,000. So here it is to realization. So in realization, it will be by Premier Limited 1,50,000. So this completes my P, that is purchase consideration due. R stands for receiving purchase consideration. So receiving purchase consideration, how the purchase consideration is received? It is received in the form of cash and equity share in Premier Limited. So both this will come in. So the entry will be cash account debit, then equity share in Premier Limited debit, and who is the giver? The giver is the Premier Limited. So to Premier Limited. So this is the entry, cash account debit, cash is coming in, equity share in Premier Limited is coming in, and who is the giver? Premier Limited. Now we will do the posting of this. It is cash account debit. So first we will write in cash account debit side to Premier Limited. How much cash is given? We have to take from statement of purchase consideration. It is 15,000. So here it is to Premier Limited. So in Premier Limited we will write by cash 15,000. Then next is equity share in Premier Limited debit. So to Premier Limited 1,35,000. Here it is to Premier Limited. So by equity share in Premier Limited. So this completes my R, that is receiving purchase consideration. S stands for sale of assets not taken over. There is no transaction. P stands for payment of liability not taken over. There is no transaction. R stands for realization expenses paid by vendor company. So there is one transaction related with realization expenses. Point number 5. Cost of liquidation of Modern Auto Limited was rupees 500. So now since Modern Auto Limited will pay the realization expenses, money will go out. So cash is to be credited and realization is to be debited. So the entry will be realization account debit to cash. So realization account debit side, we will write to cash 500, and the second effect of this will come in cash account here, that is by realization into bracket expenses 500. So this completes my R, that is realization expenses paid by vendor company. Then P stands for payment to preference shareholders, there is no transaction. R stands for realization account closed. Now we will close the realization account. We will take the total of debit side and credit side. The debit side total is 1,500,000 and the credit side total is 1,62,000. So which total is heavier? Credit total is heavier. So we will take heavier total on both the side. So heavier total on both the side. That means there is a profit. There is a profit of 61,500 which is to be transferred to equity shareholder. So to equity shareholder, profit 61,500. Now this profit will be transferred to equity shareholder by realization into bracket profit 61,500. So this completes my R, that is realization account closed. Then finally S stands for settlement of equity shareholder. Now in settlement of equity shareholder, whatever is the cash balance, that we will give it to the equity shareholder. So heavier total on both the side, 15,000, 15,000, balance comes to 14,500. So this will be given to equity shareholder by equity shareholder 14,500. Now here it is by, so here it will be to cash 14,500, and then whatever shares also we have received, that also we will give it to the equity shareholder. So it will come on credit side by equity shareholder 1,35,000. So here it is by equity shareholder. So in equity shareholder it will be to equity sharing Premier Limited 1,35,000. So all my steps are completed. We have to check whether all the accounts are coming equal. So my equity shareholders is equal 1,49,500. Then we will check the other accounts also. Premier Limited is equal 1,50,000. Equity share in Premier Limited is equal. Cash is also equal. So this way we had closed the books of purchasing company. Now they are also asking journal entries in the books of journal entries in the books of Premier Limited. So we will pass journal entries in the books of Premier Limited. So journal entries in the books of Premier Limited. So first entry is for taking over the business, that is business purchase account debit to liquidator of Modern Auto Limited. So business purchase account debit to liquidator of Modern Auto Limited, purchase consideration which is 1,50,000, being business of Modern Auto Limited purchased. Now in the second entry we have to take over the assets and the liabilities. So we will take over the assets and the liabilities. We will just refer to the question now. The first asset is goodwill. Now this goodwill we will not write because we have to make the adjustment in goodwill. So building there is a dot, that means building, what they are telling, it is to be taken at 60,000. Building and machinery at 60,000 each. So what we will do, we will take building. So building the account debit 60,000 and machinery also debit 60,000. Then the next is stock. Now regarding stock they are telling it is taken at 14,200. So we will write here stock debit 14,200. Then next on debtors there is a provision. So debtors we will write the full value and provision we will show it on the credit side. So book debts is 3,600. Then next is bank it is to be taken at the book value, that is 5,600. So we will write here bank 5,600. Now we have to take the liabilities. Now liabilities we will be taking at the revised value, means outside liability 6% debenture 10,000, but here we had calculated it is taken at what price. So here we had calculated it is taken at 12,000. So we will write here 6% debentures in Modern Auto Limited 12,000. Then the next liability is creditors. Creditors will be taken at the book value. So creditors 2,000. Then provision for discount on debtors, we have to calculate it on this, that is on the book debts we have to calculate the percentage is given here, it is 5% provision for discount. So you have to calculate 5% on this, which comes to 180, and then to business purchase 1,50,000. Now again there will be a difference in this entry because purchase consideration is calculated under net payment method. So we will find out the difference. Debit side total is 1,43,400 and credit side total is 1,64,180. So the difference is on the debit side. So we have to debit goodwill account. So goodwill account debit, we will find out the difference. So the difference will come to 1,64 minus, that comes to 20,780. So 20,780 goodwill, that is the balancing figure. I will just show it into bracket over here. It is the balancing figure. Narration for this: being assets and liabilities of Modern Auto Limited taken over. Now next we have to make the payment of purchase consideration. So we will be the receiver, the liquidator of Modern Auto Limited will be the receiver. So liquidator of Modern Auto Limited account debit, which comes to 1,50,000, that is the price of purchase consideration. Then here we have to write to equity share capital. Now equity share capital, we will take it from here. Equity share capital, it is 9,000 shares. Now 9,000 multiplied by 15 here it is, but the face value is 10. So in capital we have to write the face value. So here we will write 9,000 into 10, that comes to 90,000. Then some amount is also given in cash. So we will find out that also. The cash is 15,000. So cash 15,000. So here we will have to write to cash 15,000. And the remaining is the premium, that is to security premium, the balancing figure of this. Or if you will see 9,000, 10 rupees is the capital and 5 rupees was the premium. So 9,000 into 5, 45,000. Narration: being purchase consideration settled. Now next is payment to the debentures of Modern Auto Limited. So the entry will be 6% debentures in Modern Auto Limited debit, debenture on issue, discount on issue of debenture account debit. Now why this discount is debited? Because here it is mentioned that the debentures are issued at 96. So we have to debit the discount on issue of debentures and to 8% debenture. Okay, now how to write the value of this? Now in order to write the value of this, what we will do, we have to divide this 12,000 divide by, we have to divide this 12,000 by 96. 12,000 divided by 96, we will get the number of debentures. So 12,000 divided by 96, the number of debenture is 125. So 125, what we will do here, 125 number of debentures. So 125 into the face value is 100. So here we will write 125 into 100, that is 12,500. And the discount part, it is issued at 96, that means 4 rupees is discount. So 125 into 4, that comes to 500. So being debenture in Modern Auto Limited settled by issuing 8% debenture. So this way you had also passed the journal entries in the books of the purchasing company. So this sum is completed. Thank you.